Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. This is our live Tuesday night show. Before we go any further, I met the owner, Frank. Shout out to Frank, the owner of Olive Oil's Pizzeria. We appreciate that. And he tossed in an extra, did you get that? 412, call him now, 831-1900, right at Hillcrest Shopping Center. Hey, thanks for that taste of a hoagie, too. Just unbelievable. Banana peppers. I'm sweating the banana peppers. Hold on one second. Live TV. Whew. I know it's not hot in here, but they were hot enough. Thank you. Thanks for watching our show on Comcast 7 locally in Bethel Park. That's how it is. Just had a call before I got in. Rick, hope you're watching the show on Comcast in Bethel Park. For everybody else, it's Verizon 32, including Bethel Park, from Nemacolin all the way up to Cranberry, Wexford. We've had people watching up there. I was just up that way before, and a couple of them said they've seen our show. So thanks for watching us. We hit a brand new high, Jim Audet, 4,707. How do you know that, Smoking Jim? You've been spying on our stuff there. Well, we appreciate all the likes, and you know how we operate, and you know what Smoking Jim does. If you're new to it, just friend Smoking Jim. He's looking for more friends, so not just sweeties. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. We got Chip, the Prophet Hayner, Smoking Jim Frazier, Little Z, Zach Brenner. Everybody's in the house, was on time, and there's still a couple slices down there. Don't fight over them. They're good. That was what's left. Thanks, Devin Shea and Chris, for being in the control room. We got our usual cameraman. Tiger is on the camera. And we're not asking for any other double duties. While we're doing this stuff, Smoking Jim, you know what? You weren't here. Oh, I shouldn't have had that in my pocket. Chip, pass that down to him. This is live TV. There's your Bethel Bakery Pittsburgh Sportsline cookie. You got permission to eat it. They are absolutely delicious. That was in my freezer because they said, you know, that'll keep it fresh. So hopefully it's as fresh as it was when we had it, when it was just 1 day old. But enjoy it. Thanks again, John Walsh of Bethel Bakery.
Very nice.
Stop in there. Smoking Jim, you got to buy some more cookies and things because you could win prizes every day. And then September 1st to the 5th, that'll be their big birthday week. Check out all the specials they have. We appreciate them, and we're ready to move on and talk some sports. We start our first segment with What's on Your Mind. Zach Brenner, what's on your mind?
Well, Al Levine, the talking machine, it's a great time to be a fan of sports in the city of Pittsburgh with number 36, Jerome Bettis, getting enshrined into the Hall of Fame upcoming, and the Pittsburgh Steelers getting ready to finally take the field for what will be the first of a bunch of meaningless football games that will be played. But what's really on my mind is Smoking Jim Frazier. Apparently, I know you're a big man in the scouting department. Our secondary is still weak, and it hasn't gotten any better in the offseason. So the Pittsburgh Steelers went out uncharacteristically and traded with the Philadelphia Eagles and brought in Boykins, a starting cornerback. So he's a little short, but he's a fast guy. I know Smoking Jim loves speed. You know, so much can't be said for the linebackers that we currently have. But I know if I know anything, Mike Tomlin is a great coach, Smoking Jim, and he'll coach him up to the best of his God-given abilities. And Latrobe, lastly, in case anybody was stayed up last night, the good old Buccos got washed out, so they could neither win or lose or gain any ground on the St. Louis Cardinals. Not that they were going to anyways, but I think we're going to find out what Chip and Al Levine's good old boys are made of down there on the North Shore, because they've had a little bit of adversity. A.J. Burnett's arm finally showed some age and kind of tightened up a little bit. They say he'll be out 4 weeks. He got a shot. Well, we shall see.
What are they even laughing about down there? I mean, the Sandbucks, they must have sand in their ears or something. This has been going on all year.
And finally, Ray Rice says he's rehabilitated. He wants back into the National Football League. I say there's a better chance of him fighting Ronda Rousey in the cage. And that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Zach Brenner.
She will She want a piece of him for sure, brother. I got my money on Ronda.
She doesn't even care about him. She'll take whoever they sign a deal with, whoever Dana White with UFC signs up. He's not going to have her fight a man. You got domestic violence. A lot of people ignore that, but I don't. So that's not going to happen in the cage. But hey, thanks for your similar opinions that we got. I didn't hear any new things, but I appreciate that, Zach. Just a nice update. Smoking Jim Frazier, I can't wait for your, who knows what this report's going to be about.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Here, I got a new one. Just keep it.
you got to see Levine. And I tell you what, not only is Al Levine the money man, but I tell you what, he's a marketing genius. On my way in, seen the sign for $1.99 pizza, so I went into the pizza shop. What's the name of it?
It's called, here, hold it, because we finally need you to read it. Olive Oil's Pizzeria.
Olive Oil's Pizzeria. I got 2 pizzas for $1.99 and each, and outstanding, man. And I tell you what, that's the only pizza I've ever eaten that I didn't need any meat toppings on it. Cheese is good enough. It's outstanding. So I got a couple boxes in the car, and then I drive a little further down the street.
Okay.
And I go to Bethel Bakery, get a couple cupcakes, and I tell you what, I almost bought a cherry pie.
No.
And I almost bought a cherry pie. Next week I'll probably buy the apple pie because Lil Z, my horse, likes apples. So next week I'll get the apple pie.
Wait. Who's this horse? Zach.
Mr. Ed.
Because you don't have a horse. I'll give an update in a little bit. Because for some reason, I'm running into all kind of people. I ran into a great friend of ours the other night, Bill Carmack.
Yeah.
You know him?
Yeah, the photographer. Yeah.
Well, he
best.
stopped down at James Street. I was
Black
there.
guy, right? Black guy.
Yeah, he still is. Not Pat Carmack, the white guy from Langley, coach. So anyhow, he said, just tell it to me straight, Al. Does he own this horse? I said, what horse? There is no horse yet. He doesn't understand. They have to buy the horse. You have no horse right now, just so you know. For all those false rumors, there is no horse. That'll be an update coming up shortly.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
Al Levine.
Now, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind?
Besides eating.
What's on my mind is actually the 2012 draft. I took a lot of heat in the 2012 draft when I had Russell Wilson as the #1 quarterback in that draft, followed by Andrew Luck, Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins, Nick Foles, Brock Osweiler, and the 2 busts I had in that draft was RG3 and Brandon Wheaton. Wheaton's out of the league, and RG3 should be out of the league. And I tell you what, couldn't be happier for Russell Wilson, who's arguably the best quarterback in that great class. Some people may say Andrew Luck, who's an outstanding player too, but I think when you win a Super Bowl and you go to another Super Bowl, I think you're leading the class. He got 4 years, $88 million, so couldn't be more happy for him, and that's what's on my mind.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. Chip the Prophet Hainer, what's on your mind?
Oh, thank you, Alan, and good evening, everybody. I guess once I show up on the screen there, hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our humble little show. But you asked me what's on my mind, and so far we've gone through 2/3 of the baseball season. And the next 2 months are going to be quite a joy for me. We've got pennant races through every division in baseball. We've got some surprise teams that are coming out of nowhere. That are vying for division championships and wild card spots. You've got the New York Mets. Who knew that the New York Mets would actually contend for a division title this year? They've got a solid pitching staff. They made some moves at the trade deadline. They've taken over first place from the Washington Nationals, who were one of the favorites in the National League to go all the way. Well, they invested all that money in a pitching staff, and goes to show you, it's not who spends the most, it's who plays the best. You've also got quite a race brewing in the American League East with the Yankees, the Blue Jays. The Baltimore Orioles are starting to show a little bit of resurgence. The Toronto Blue Jays, they went all in, and it looks like the Detroit Tigers, they went all out. They decided to get rid of everybody and build for the next decade. So
And we're thankful.
hey, we took their closer, much needed. When you got some help in the bullpen. And I'm really looking forward to the Central Division race. The Pirates are still nipping at the heels of the St. Louis Cardinals. We've got 9 more games against them head-to-head, so we've got plenty of chances to make up ground with them. Do you have gas?
No, he didn't eat his cookie yet. He can't get the bag open. He has to hire somebody to open that
Okay,
bag.
I'm just wondering.
No, that's what happened. Look at the cookie's still there.
But, I'm really looking forward to the last third of the baseball season. A lot of good pennant races to pay attention to. And we're going to see what the Pirates are made out of. They've run into a little bit of adversity. They've run into some injuries. A.J. Burnett's going to be down for about a month, but fortunately they made some moves at the trade deadline, picked up a starting pitcher. He'll be on the mound tonight. His name's Jay Happ. He'll be pitching against the Chicago Cubs. And, yes, I was one of those fools that sat there last night for 4 hours and got rained on.
Really?
And didn't get to see a baseball game because, the 4 innings they played don't count. So, oh well, I'll strap it back on and be down there tomorrow night, and I'll watch the Pirates beat the Cubs again. And, be there Saturday night. We'll watch, the Dodgers are coming into town. Friday night's matchup is going to be one for the records. Clayton Kershaw pitching against Garrett Cole. I'm sure I'm not going to miss a pitch of that game. But, hey, I'm just loving baseball and loving my Pittsburgh Pirates and looking forward to the next 2 months.
Well, I like the early baseball talk, but I'm going to save that for the segment there.
For the record, that was Smoking Jim Frazier that clapped for the New York Mets when Chip was talking about the Mets. And he's still under the impression that Darryl Strawberry plays for the New York Metropolitan.
Well, matter of fact, Zach, he was a little late on his clapping. It wasn't even meant for the Mets. He somehow missed the whole statement that he's eyeing that cookie up so much he can't break the bag. Will you get him a knife or a tool to get in there? Because he's having some issues there. Well, I was going to address the horse issue, but I had to interrupt Smoking Jim. But we will talk about that on location since we were on location there. And to me, it is a great time to be in the sports world, talking sports. And the one thing that bothers me about Steeler camp is they've been rebuilding now for over 3 years. And they don't say that. I mean, I know people don't agree with me because when we win a game, we're going to the Super Bowl. Well, my problem is if you don't change some of the mediocre players you have,
Thank you.
and now you're going to Tampa 2, which luckily Mike Tomlin's an expert on it because that's what he grew up on. So now I have a little optimism because now we're trying to make the players fit in the mediocre defense that we have. So I'm a little optimistic because that schedule, if the other teams stay healthy, I know people get hurt. But I'm a little bit worried here. I don't even know what kind of prediction to make because I'm not hearing a really strong camp. So keep rebuilding. I'm happy for Jerome Bettis. I think it's awesome. And I'm glad we're playing that first game because we need all the practice we can get. That's what's on my mind. Now my favorite segments come up. The first one is Fiction and Fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And I tell you what, I may get a little long-winded on this one, but
Eat a bite of cookie and that'll help you. Sugar up.
2 weeks ago, Terrell Pryor invited, I got an invitation to Terrell Pryor's cookout, and I refused to go because not only am I mad at Terrell Pryor, I'm disappointed in him. The one thing that's hard to find anywhere is great quarterbacks. Not because the quarterback position is that difficult to play, but leadership is something that you have to be born with, and it's hard to find a great leader. Case in point, the stock boy, Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner couldn't throw a spiral if his life depended on it. And when he went to training camp with the St. Louis Rams, he was a number 4 quarterback. And he was undersized, under strength, under speed, under arm, couldn't throw a spiral. And the Rams was looking for a backup quarterback behind Trent Green. And offensive coordinator, head coach was Dick Vermeil. Offensive coordinator was Mike Marks. And he chewed out Kurt Warner all week long because he was trying to see what quarterback could handle the adversity and the stress. And towards the end of the first week of camp, Kurt Warner's under center of a rookie center. The center goes to snaps the ball, and it hits off the center's thigh. Never even hit Kurt Warner's hand. Everybody's seen it. Marks chewed out Kurt Warner in front of the team, up and down. Said a fumble like that could cause a game. There's no excuse for him to fumble that snap like that, and it's going to cost the offense some extra running and some extra meeting time. And Kurt Warner never pointed fingers. He never made excuses. He went in the huddle and told the team, sorry for that fumble. Forget about it. Let's have a crisp rest of the practice, and let's get after it. And that's what Mike Marks and Dick Vermeil knew, that this guy was special. And Kurt Warner went on to have a Hall of Fame career. And Terrell Pryor ended up being, there's only 32 quarterbacks in the National Football League. And that's why they get paid $20 million a piece, the good ones. And Terrell Pryor had the respect of the locker room in Oakland. The players liked him. But when adversity creeped in with a new coaching staff who was looking to perhaps replace him as a quarterback, he folded under pressure and wanted traded and wanted out. And for that, I'll never forgive. And that's the fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Thanks, Smoking Jim. I think we got some fiction there. I smelled it. Zach looked over, and he was underarmed, couldn't throw a spiral.
It's the greatest show on turf.
Yeah, just watch some video on it. Maybe you were talking.
One of the most prolific offenses.
Yeah, but maybe you were talking about before when he couldn't make the NFL and got cut a few times. So maybe that was your story.
And where it just boils down to, he wasn't one of the best 32 quarterbacks in the NFL.
So that's what, and I, you know what I like how you admit it also? I like how Smoking Jim goes through that whole presentation and fails to tell the people at home that Terrell Pryor has given up on being a quarterback and is now taking a shot at wide receiver in Cleveland, and he's hurt. He came up lame today, so they shut him down. He got tightness in his.
What was his barbecue? A BYOF? Bring your own food? Is that why you didn't go?
Bring your own milk.
He was at Bill Boyce's, no problem. And that was in Brentwood, just so you know. Thanks for putting up with us. We did find a lot of fiction there, and there were a couple facts. We can't deny that. He did have a Hall of Fame career. So. All right, Chip the Prophet Hainer. Let's go to Chip's Trivia Time.
Chip's Trivia Time. Well, Trivia Time this week will start with an event that happened last night. Last night, Adrian Beltre hit for the cycle, and he'd done this by the fifth inning.
I hate to stop you, but there's some people that don't even understand.
Okay.
They think it's a motorcycle or a bicycle.
So
Please
to hit for
tell
the
them.
cycle in baseball, that means that and
anybody new to
in
baseball
the amount
out
of
there.
at-bats that you have in a game, that you get a single, a double, a triple, and a home run.
Wow.
That is hitting for the cycle. That's a feat that most people accomplish maybe once in their career.
Maybe.
Well, Adrian Beltre did it last night, and that happened to be the third time in his major league career that he has batted for the cycle. Now, here's the interesting thing. There were three other people that have done that in the history of Major League Baseball. The first would have been Long John Riley, who played around the turn of the last century. Babe Herman, and that is not Babe Ruth, because Babe Herman is different because it's George Herman Ruth, and nicknamed the Babe, and a gentleman named Bob Musial. So there's four people now in this club that have batted for the cycle 3 times in their career.
Wow.
And the interesting thing is, Adrian Beltre plays for the Texas Rangers, and of the last 8 cycles that have been hit for in Major League Baseball, 4 of them have been by Texas Rangers.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what there must be something in the water down there. I would have to think. Also, some other interesting tidbits, because I know my friend Jim here to my left has constantly talked to me about how Pete Rose was such a great baseball player and how he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Well, here's some other tidbits that lead you to believe that maybe he wasn't as great as some people think he was. The Cincinnati Reds of the 1970s were called the Big Red Machine, and the Reds and the Pirates went toe-to-toe, almost like they did Sunday afternoon at Great American Ballpark. But there are two Cincinnati Reds that have won the Most Valuable Player award twice. Okay? Neither of them are Pete Rose. First would be Joe Morgan, who won it in 1975 and then in 76. Johnny Bench won it in 1970 and 1972. So just goes to show you that the best Cincinnati Reds that ever played the game weren't named Pete.
Oh, he hit a lot of singles.
Well, you know.
More singles than most people
But
got
you know
hits.
what, though? Pete was all about me, you know, and that's not the way a team game is played, right?
There's no I in Pete.
In team, there's me.
Yeah,
You gotta look for it.
that. You gotta look for it.
And he found it.
Also, some other interesting tidbits, and it happened in baseball history. In July 30th, 1980, Houston Astros pitcher J.R. Richards suffered a stroke during a workout at the Astrodome and underwent surgery to remove a blood clot behind his right collarbone. That was, at the time, J.R. Richards was probably one of the top strikeout pitchers in the major leagues. He was on. He was on. If he would have made it through that season, very good chance he would have won the Cy Young Award that year.
Oh, he's unstoppable.
July 31st, 1990, Nolan Ryan won his 300th game, reaching the milestone in his second try, an 11-3 victory of the Rangers over the Milwaukee Brewers. And on July 31st, John Smoltz, who just was inducted into the Hall of Fame last weekend.
Didn't get my vote.
Yeah.
You didn't know the vote. It was baseball.
Neither did Jerome, huh?
Yeah.
John Smoltz broke his own record of being the fastest pitcher to record 40 saves by pitching a scoreless night in the Atlanta Braves 7-4 win over Houston. Last year, he got his 40th save on August the 8th. That was August the 8th, 2002. July 31st, 2003, he got his 40th save, so he broke his own record. 1982, Joel Youngblood became the first player in Major League history to play and get a base hit for two different teams in two different cities in the same game. In the afternoon, his hit drove in the winning run for the New York Mets in a 7-4 victory at Chicago. After the game, he was traded to the Montreal Expos and played that night in Philadelphia. He entered the game in right field in the fourth inning and later got a single. It's a pretty amazing feat to be get two hits
It's unusual.
in two cities for two different teams. Doesn't happen often. August 4th, 1985, Tom Terrific became the 17th pitcher to win 300 games in Major League history. I bring up Tom Terrific because Tom Terrific and Nolan Ryan were both rookies on the '69 Mets, the amazing Mets that won the World Series that year against the Baltimore Orioles. Also on August 4th, 1985, once again, not only did Tom Seaver win his 300th game, Rod Carew of the California Angels got his 3,000th hit, and he's one of the greatest hitters of all time. And then on a more somber note, let's put it that way, unfortunately, there was a death in the baseball world this past weekend. A young boy, 9 years old, was a bat boy for the Liberal Kansas Blue Jays, was accidentally hit in the head with a bat while a player was in the on-deck circle warming up. And this was in I believe, a game that was a bunch of college all-stars playing.
I missed it, yeah.
And unfortunately, the young boy got hit in the head while the player was warming up, and he succumbed to his injuries, and he passed away yesterday. And it's sorry to hear about that, and my hearts and my prayers go out to his family and to everybody in the baseball community. It is a tragic, but that's what I got for you this week.
Thanks,
Great
Chip.
job,
I
Chip.
appreciate that. Thanks for explaining the cycle, too, because our baseball non-experts don't know. And for all of you trying to learn something like Renee at Market District, there you go. You've got the cycle. And one other clarification, because I know the Sandbox boys don't know this. You don't have to get a single, then a double, then a triple, then a home run.
It
Just
doesn't
have
have
to
to
get
be
all
more than-
four. of 'em.
Excellent. They're
In
coming
the
on
game.
strong.
In the game.
You just got to get the flush.
Yeah. See, these guys know more than they let on. They're not really haters.
They are.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
They are.
Zach Brenner, give us one thing on your mind here. Because you already did Z-time early. He does Z-time early. He's counter-punching. I've had people say, what's up with that? Do you have one great
Yes.
topic? Or?
Yes, I have
All right,
one.
because you gave us three
right
before.
now at PNC Park, the acquisition that's filling in for AJ Burnett is getting roughed up. Smoking Jim, the bases are loaded. He just walked in a battery. It is now 1-0 Chicago Cubs. And the first inning is not over, and the bases are loaded, so it could be 4-0 before
That's
it's
your
over.
wild card team, the Cubs.
It could be 8-0 if they start hitting. We've seen that. It could happen. But you know what? It's a 162-game season. Chip, I know, just a little side note here.
Yeah, well,
If we won 60 games in a year, people were saying we should celebrate and have a parade. Smoking
Yeah.
Jim.
you know,
Now we win 60 games, and they say we're not getting in. But
you know.
that's opinions.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
not done with Z-Time, are you?
Well, we don't know.
No, we don't know.
But I'll just say this. You guys heard me before the season. I
What
said,
is it?
as much as I love A.J. Burnett, no way his arm is going to last the whole season, and he's done. He's not coming
Well, if
back.
it's something negative, you're definitely going to bring it out early. If it's something positive, I really don't see a lot of that because there were some questions on Pitt's going to win the national championship, but there was no year.
I never said that. Yeah, right. You're right. You're
See,
right.
don't be
You're
changing
right.
your
Good
story
job.
when I
Good
caught
job.
you with
That's
the
right.
truth.
That's
They
right.
think I don't listen to them when they talk like insane people. Okay, but I do. Z still has a moment of Z time here because that was his update on the sport that he hates. And if you notice a trend here,
Great update.
wait, if there's something
Great
wrong,
update because every game is won in the first inning.
yeah. And the season was lost after the first game. You know that. I don't even know why we're playing them. Go ahead, Zach.
Well, Smoking Jim.
Yes, sir.
Leading into that, though, what they're failing to let the folks know at home is what that wild card game is going to equal up to. It's going to equal up to one of the 3 stud pitchers in the National League that they're going to have to face, and it just doesn't look that promising.
So that means like one of the stud pitchers in the National League would be pitching in that game for the Pittsburgh Pirates. That would be Garrett Cole then, right?
Wow.
That's what I thought.
And the debate continues. Z-Time ended on a sour note. He's smiling and Chip's smiling. So you can't beat Pittsburgh Sports Line in opinions. And you know the disclaimer, folks. Never on a discussion like this would you ever let facts get in the way of, I don't know what they're not even opinions. It's like something odd. But okay. On location, we had one of the greatest days in Pittsburgh sports line history on location at Adios Day. We were welcome to go everywhere. Smoking Jim learned so much.
Yes,
and
sir.
He
Yes,
was
I
getting
did.
information left and right. We want to thank the Meadows Racetrack and Casino. We were all over the place, especially on the apron and outside across the track. Heather Wilder with the Meadows Standardbred Owners Association, the USTA, United States Trotting Association for bringing us in, and of course the Meadows Standardbred Association for having us do a show and interviewing some of their members and everything else. We just had a great time. We met some of the best drivers in the country, if not the world.
Yes, sir.
And what was nice about it is we interviewed the gentleman, Corey Callahan, who won the Adios, which was great. Then Brett Miller come in second, who we interviewed. He's the cousin of David Miller, who you'll find out when you watch the interview that he won the Adios last year.
Wow.
And we talked to a lot of great trainers, drivers. They're not jockeys, and Smoking Jim knows that now. And we saw some of the best horses in the country. And Aaron Ward did an excellent job on the camera. I just saw some of the videos. Today I had to go out Smoking Jim. I didn't call you because you didn't want to just go out there and see Heather hand me a DVD. I know that.
I would have went for that.
Well, we got the DVD of the Adios race. We're one of the first media organizations to have it. It'll be attached to the video, which will be done tomorrow. So check that out. And they want to have us back, so we're going to talk to them about that. And contrary to all the rumors that Smokin' Jim is starting, he didn't understand that they have not bought a horse. You cannot name a horse once it is raced. So a lot of these things, they're just fiction.
Stallion.
That's only one thing. You may get a gelding, okay? You might get a filly. You might get a mare, all right? So any of these things are possible.
If you get a filly, you can name it Chip Kelly.
So even Chip gets caught up into the sandbox. You can't rename a horse once it is raced. They have tattoos. If Smokin' Jim was observant, he would have saw they had tattoos visible on their neck. So you can't do that.
What kind of horse do we want, Levine?
A winning horse. And I'll tell you this much.
One that's already named.
I know you're not fond of trotters. So I know you.
Well,
I love a
pushing-
trotter.
Here's what I was
love
told.
a trotter.
Roger Houston told me if you get a good trotter, that's a good horse. Because a trotter that's good will stay on its trot, and it'll do well.
Won't break the stride, huh? Won't break
It
the stride.
won't break his stride, exactly. So Smokin' Jim has learned a couple steps. And what's going on, they went to the sale, to give you a little history, and it's an auction. But the price of the horses were over $200,000.
That's what I
And they
figured.
said, if Smokin' Jim doesn't have any extra money, how are we going to do this?
Figured that about 200,000.
You couldn't have figured it because they normally go from like 5,000 to 100,000. But they're looking at some other sales and local horses and all around the country, and we have a good trainer for you. You know, Tim Twaddle, he's a trainer, and he's very good at picking horses, and everybody wants to win.
Don't me and Smokin' Jim Frazier both have the same stake?
I don't think there's any confusion there.
I'd like to see you fight over that.
There
bone.
isn't any confusion on this. It's all the same horse because this is a fractional promotional horse ownership deal. $350, you have no other expenses. We even talked about it on the show.
That's nice.
People want to not have facts or anything. It's a simple thing. There's no other expense for you. You get in so you own a horse. You get to enjoy it for a couple months. And then that's it. They'll do another program, and maybe you want to get in, maybe you won't. Or maybe you want to buy a horse
I'm getting
from
in.
some other trainers.
I'm getting in.
Well, you can't just do it with your smile, Smokin' Jim. Just so you know, it does cost money. A good horse and
I
bad
got money
horse.
in the bank because I still got checks.
They expired. After 10 years, you might as well throw them away or put them in your fireplace. That's our on location there. We'll be back at Duke's Rib House and Grill next Monday. Check out that show. Got a lot of great people coming in. One little tease, Greg Rudolph agreed to come back to the show after a little hiatus. And we got a couple other guests coming in to confirm it, probably 3 or 4 more. So check out the show at Duke's, 7:30 to 8:30. You know that's in Mount Lebanon, right next to Max and Hermanus. So that's the on-location report. We're going right into Bucko Talk before we get interrupted here.
Who?
Bucko Talk. And as we know, we're not going to talk about rebuilding Steelers until the Sandbox talks about that, but we'll wait to see what happens. With the Buccos, A.J. Burnett, sure, I thought maybe he'd get injured earlier in the year. He was great. And sometimes when you're pitching your heart out all the time, Smokin' Jim, you've blown out parts of your body.
Or arguing.
What does that mean?
Or arguing.
He enjoys that. That helps keep him loose. That doesn't affect your elbow. It was good news that Hero will be out a month, and they could bring him back a little easier and see how he gets back in shape. They did supply new players. So what if they're losing in the first inning? They might get blown out 12-0.
yeah,
But there are 9 innings. Does anybody remember 9 innings?
Much to Zach's chagrin, the score's still only 1-0 in the bottom of the first. So, they got out of the little bit of a sticky wicket. But
They didn't score 4 runs.
No, they didn't score 4
Ah,
runs.
jeez.
If Zach is known for anything, it's about, a little bit premature there, buddy.
Premature commentary about runs.
Just like he was with Tiger Woods being back, remember?
Hold it, don't bring up
He is
Tiger.
back.
I'm still hopeful. He had a 68
He's
the
back.
last day.
Yeah.
That's the first time
Yeah,
he's
that's
done
the
that in
last time
years.
he did that. He didn't make the cut at the British Open.
Hey, there's not many that can play under those conditions over there.
Except the people that won.
Hey,
Cash the check.
Yeah, they got to play on Saturday and Sunday.
Those things happen.
you know,
Back
yeah,
to Buckeyes.
But back to the Buckeyes. The Pirates made some pretty smart moves. They've solidified their bench a little bit. They've definitely got Josh Harrison and Jordy Mercer on the mend. They'll be back sooner and later. They picked up a guy that actually drove in the winning run for the World Series clinching game last year for the San Francisco 49ers, San Francisco Giants. Excuse me, Michael Morris playing first base last night, and he actually did get his first hit for the Pirates last night, but it
Doesn't
didn't count.
count.
Yeah, it didn't count. He got a double, and he scored after Gregory Polanco bounced one off the wall too. But
Who's warming up? Polanco's doing much better now.
Polanco is actually starting to show why he was worth sticking with. I felt that all along that the only place that Gregory Polanco could become the kind of ball player he is going to be is in the major leagues. I think he'd accomplished everything that he could accomplish in the minors, and the only way for him to get better is to get into the major leagues and face major league pitching. And it's a matter of adjustments, and he seems to be adjusting quite well. After sitting down with Clint Hurdle about a month ago, and Clint told him that, look, you do not need to worry about being sent back down. You're not going to be. And ever since then,
Play baseball.
he's been playing very, very well. The bright star for the Pirates, especially in the month of July, was the National League's Rookie of the Month, Young Ho Gong.
I love
Ooh.
it.
Gong
Wow.
is, whoever heard of him before last year? We paid $5 million just for the right to negotiate with him. And we signed him to a contract, and he is proving that he is a strong candidate for Rookie of the Year. The former strong candidate for Rookie of the Year that started with the Cubs back in April, who seems to have taken a severe nosedive, Chris Bryant. Looking at his batting average for the month of July, I believe he was batting 147. Hasn't hit a home run in about a
Smoking
month.
Jim knew that.
Well, it's the Chicago Cubs. They're not going away. They're 4.5, 5 games back of the Pirates, and the Chicago Cubs have made an amazing turnaround this year. They're keeping the Pirates
You
honest.
predicted that before the season. You knew Chicago was going to be good.
Well, Chicago spent a lot of money on getting some major league talent, but Theo Epstein, who helped develop three-time World Series champions in
Red Sox.
Boston, when he moved over to Chicago, this is a guy that knows how to build a franchise from the ground up. And you start in the minors. They got a lot of young talent in there. They got rid of the Deadwood, and then bringing in Joe Madden as the manager this year was the final piece to the puzzle that they needed. They've got a class manager that understands the game, knows how to utilize his players, and that's what made Chicago viable again.
and you don't put a 40-year-old pitcher in your starting rotation. They knew better than to do that.
Who has a 40-year-old pitcher in their starting rotation?
Pirates
We
did.
still don't.
Pirates did.
38.
He's 38.
Same thing.
Well,
No, you
never
don't
let
go
the
by any
facts-
age.
never
Hold
let
it.
the facts obscure your
Disclaimer.
opinion.
How old is Smoking Jim Frazier? Can anybody say when he was born?
Well, listen, the Pirates, this ain't Valentine's Day. Listen, the Pirates didn't do enough at the trading deadline, and we can talk about that the day after the wild card game when the Pirates will be
Okay,
out.
now wait a minute. What more do you think that they could have done? Please enlighten me.
There's
because
no facts.
Everybody
Stop.
in Major League Baseball, including all of the baseball experts, they gave the Pirates passing
I'll
grades
say-
for what they did at the trade deadline.
I gave them. Listen, if you
D
look
minus.
if you look at the Pirates' second half schedule, the last third of the season is the toughest part of their schedule. They're playing a lot of great teams, and the Pirates are going to fall back. The pitching staff is starting to decline. I thought Samardzija, they should have made a bid for Samardzija, the pitcher, the great wide receiver from Notre Dame.
The A's.
But he can throw though. He can pitch.
But he wasn't on the market.
Yeah, he was on the market. He was available. He was available
Yeah, for what?
for
Give away the money.
if you're paying $5 million just to negotiate with a
Jim,
guy from
you
South
see,
Korea.
when you're trying to comment on something that you really, truly know nothing about. I'm serious.
Do you think they did enough at the trade deadline?
Yes, I do believe they did.
What did they do that you liked at the trade deadline?
Okay, they brought in a starting pitcher that they could fill in the hole.
Who?
Hap.
Oh,
They brought in help for the front end of the bullpen. They brought in help for the back end of the bullpen.
Wow.
They brought in a bat off the bench. I mean, all of the needs that they needed to address, they addressed.
What's their true weakness, Chip? What they're unable to hit against? What kind of pitchers on the mound?
Lefty.
So my thing is that they really, they like I said, you argued with me earlier. Okay, so we got the best pitcher in the league. We got Garrett Cole, but if the bats don't come to life and there's no kind of production on that one game on that one day, you could have the best pitcher in the league, man. All it's going to take is one bomb.
How many
and we can
games
get
have the
Hap will
Pirates
be in there.
won?
They don't know.
Okay, you're not talking about a team that's clawing and scratching and trying to make their way in. You got a team that's got the third best record in the major leagues, and you're criticizing them. Now you criticize the Pirates management and the Pirates players for all the years of losing. Now they're winning, and you're criticizing them. What is it that you want out of the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Well, for starters, it took 20
Well said.
years. They're on the 20-year plan. I mean, there was a
See,
movie with Adam
living in the
Sandler,
past.
Big Daddy.
Okay.
Hey, come
Call
on,
in
man.
412-831-3304.
He didn't have an answer for that.
Gee
Okay?
Willikers, 20 years.
But I mean, they did a nice, for 2/3 of the season, the Pirates have been great. But this is their toughest part of the season, and they're starting to get injured. I said before the
Hold it.
season.
When did you all acknowledge that they were doing well for 2/3 of the season today?
Well,
This is the first time, folks. Right as soon as it looks like they might lose again.
but now,
How did this
But
happen?
right now, I mean, Stevie Wonder could have seen that
Okay.
you have a pitcher that didn't
you
do
know?
well in Philadelphia, and that he's 38 or so, according to his driver's license or birth certificate. I think he's closer to 40. But
Actually,
I
he's
knew he was
34.
going to
He
get
lied
hurt.
about
Did he
getting in the
pitch well
minors.
enough to make the All-Star game?
No, he didn't earn the
What was his
All-Star.
ERA?
They put him on there.
Is
They
that
put him on there.
nostalgia?
They put him on there. The coach put him on the All-Star game because he never made it before.
Somebody
But I
call
mean, I
in
like it. You know,
with
I
some
like
facts.
AJ. The Pirates got rid of him 2 years ago. Why would you bring him back
They
this
didn't
year
get rid
and
of
put
him.
him in the top three? He's one of your best three
Can
pitchers.
you answer a question for me?
Yes, sir.
They
One at
just
a
came
time.
back in off of a 6-game road trip. What was the record?
I'm talking about the next third.
Okay.
This is the
No,
tough.
no, no,
that
no.
wasn't the toughest part. The next.
It's a-
Take a look at their schedule because you're an expert on you're an expert on baseball.
Can I clearly? Their schedule
Oh,
is
the
no
Devin
different
Shays
the
telling
next
you
2 months.
Stevie
than
Wonder
it
could
is.
pitch better than
They're
Hap.
they're
Get
playing the
outta
same
here.
teams they played the first 4 months of the season.
I took a peek at that schedule, boy. That scares
well,
me.
You
you know
don't know
what?
anything
Hey, you know
about baseball and schedule.
would
They're playing the
never-
same teams they
I
played
would
the last 4 months.
I
What
would
does
never
he even
argue
know?
I would never argue with Smoking Jim Frazier about baseball for one, or myself for two. But what I will acknowledge this, Chip, is what I think Smoking Jim's problem is that he's one of those guys that gets enamored with a big name. And when the Pirates didn't go out and pick up any of those big names, you know, the lights went off in Smoking Jim's mind. Well, you know, they didn't do enough. They didn't do anything, you know. Well, for the record, A.J. Burnett took the money, Smoking Jim, and he went to Philly. It's not that, you know, he took the money and went to Philly. We weren't going to pay him that type of money, and it worked out for good reason. So,
Jim.
all I'm saying to you, Al Levine, the Talking
Yeah.
Machine, and Chip Hayner, is that, you know what? I'm going to put my faith in the hands of Neil Huntington in the front office, that they know a lot more about baseball than me and Jim Frazier, and hopefully that all those moves come together.
And I think over the last 4 years, if the management and the team, the Pittsburgh Pirates, have proven anything, is that they deserve the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to roll with them because I guarantee you they will be standing tall at the end.
All right, I'll talk to you the day after wild card.
All right.
When is that? See you in October.
Bring
you
your
in
roll.
Mr. October.
Bring your roll, buddy.
It doesn't.
I
It doesn't
got
even
something I want to
matter.
spend it on.
There's no money going up on this, Chip.
No.
There's no doubt. And who cares about the history? It's like if you're a cornerback or a safety, you got to have a short memory.
Okay.
How do you have a 20-year memory?
You know how many teams in
burned in my
Major League
brain.
Baseball have made it to the playoffs in the last 3 years?
All wild cards.
No,
No
there's two
such thing as a
teams in
wild card.
Major League Baseball that have made it to the playoffs in the last 3 years, and the Pirates are going to become the third.
All right, it's Guinness
Do
Book.
you know who the other two are?
That's a Guinness
The
Book of World
Dodgers and the
Records.
Cardinals. And how,
When was the
did either
last
of them
time?
win the
When
World
was the
Series?
last time the Buccos won the World Series? Holy smokes! I don't even think I was born yet.
You wasn't born.
I wasn't even born yet.
Okay.
So you can't say nothing about my boys in Latrobe. They've been hoisting trophies long after those.
Yeah, the only
those
reason
battling
you don't
Buccos.
say anything
When's the
is
last-
they're rebuilding.
When's the last Pirate to go in the Hall of Fame?
Whew.
I don't even
Bill
know.
Mazeroski, maybe. Should have been in
I think
there
it
a
was
long
Bill
time ago,
Mazeroski,
yeah.
as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
What does that even matter when you like sports?
Because he's talking about he's giving a pat on the back
So
to the
who's the next
Steelers.
You know
Steelers.
what? I
Wait, no,
remember the
that's a good point.
Steelers were
Who's the-
losers, same old Steelers. I wouldn't even wear their gear. It was an embarrassment to wear it because every Sunday was an embarrassment.
There's a guy that
Yet
criticized
now we got
them
20-year
every
memories.
week last
Get
year when
outta
they were
here.
11-5. You know, he was also the same person that said Todd Haley was not deserving of being an offensive coordinator in the NFL. Oh, arguably, who's got the best offense in the NFL? Can't be Todd Haley.
But you know what though? I got questions about that, Chip, because is it more of a product of Ben Roethlisberger,
Big Ben.
or is it a
Big
product
Ben.
of Todd Haley?
Big
Because
Ben's
a lot of
that
we don't know
offensive
what
coordinator.
Well, here's
what Ben
another.
overruled.
We're gonna go into a little Steeler talk because there's just hate about
when
this.
they went to the no huddle
How-
offense, that's
How
when they
can
started flourishing.
Howard be a
offensively.
Hall of Fame coach
Yes, sir.
when he didn't have a quarterback? Then he got a quarterback who had the worst quarterback rating in Super Bowl history. Oh, they won. It was because of Big Ben that first Super Bowl. I'm mistaken. I love the Steelers.
There was some trickery.
I love the
There was some
Steelers.
trickery. Hines Ward. You know. There
I
was,
love the Steelers. It
So
doesn't
here's
matter.
my
It's all
question.
excuses.
Who was the next Steeler to get elected into the NFL Hall of Fame?
He's Googling.
I'm asking
What,
you.
who do I think
Who is the next Steeler to be elected into the Hall of Fame?
You mean besides Bettis?
Bettis is already in.
Yeah, but you mean who should?
Who's
should-
the next Steeler to get elected into the
Well,
NFL Hall of Fame?
I think Donnie Shell and Kevin Green should already be in, and they're not.
well, Kevin
Andy
Green,
Russell
Kevin
should be in
Green
there.
only stopped in Pittsburgh for a short while.
He
you
would
know.
go in as a Steeler, though.
You think?
I think, yeah.
well,
I think
he's
so.
coaching the Packers.
But
You
but
can say whatever you
but
want
Donnie,
here. It doesn't
but
matter.
Donnie Shell should go in.
I agree with you. I think Donnie Shell and L.C. Greenwood
L.C.
are
Greenwood,
both deserving
Andy
candidates.
Russell.
And I think they're a product of the fact
Too
that
many.
so many people from the 70s Steelers are in the Hall of Fame that they just don't want to elect any more of them in.
Well,
But
that's a
Donnie
cliche.
Shell,
That's
in
a
my mind's
cliche.
eye,
That's a cliche, but it's
It's the facts
I,
right now.
I don't agree with that. But I'll tell you this: the person that's probably going to be the next one to get in is
That's why I
Antonio
asked you.
Brown. Is Antonio Antonio Brown?
Do you- do
When's
you-
he going to retire? Because
No,
you need 5
no,
years
you know,
after
I've
that.
heard some argument as to whether or not
Hines ain't gonna
that
get in.
Troy Polamalu is
forgot about that. He's
is
not a Hall of
capable of the Hall of Fame, because you think about
might.
it, when Troy played, the two best safeties in the NFL by
Ed
far
Reed.
were Ed Reed and Troy. And if you look at Ed Reed's
Ed's going
statistics,
in, yeah.
Ed's going in without
Yeah.
question. What do you intercept almost 70 balls or something like
yeah,
that?
he's going in.
You know, but
Troy
you know,
don't
so
have the
so you
numbers.
know, when you look at the safeties, Troy played a different position than Ed Reed played. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because Ed was more of a ball hawk, and Troy was up there stuffing the run. But
And we needed him as a linebacker for the last couple years.
You
Yeah,
know-
Troy, Ed didn't have to stop the run because he had Ray Lewis up in front of him that took care of all that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, Ed Reed will probably go in, and I'm not so sure Troy was better than Cornell Lake. I mean, we had some great safeties. We had some great strong safeties.
yeah, but well, Donnie Shell.
Donnie Shell,
He was
he's the-
undrafted. That's a
he's-
stigma against him.
Yeah, he was.
can't put an
He's
undrafted
still
guy
he's still the number
Can't do
one
that.
strong safety in the NFL history for interceptions with over
Do
50.
you vote on the football
No,
Hall
just
of
a,
Fame?
just a high. I already got my Heisman vote. I get 3
no,
votes.
but I mean in
for
the
the Heisman.
NFL, do you get to vote for that or not?
No, just
How come they're prejudiced against
just
you?
so for.
Why don't they like you?
Well, the only one in the area that gets NFL vote, and that's the
Bouchette?
reason why is Ed Bouchette. That's why there's not more Steelers going in, because Ed Bouchette, free lunch Bouchette.
He loves Steelers.
Yeah, free lunch Bouchette's just down there getting a meal. He's not. Myron Cope used to jump on that table, knock over tables, and fight for the Steelers.
Because he was big.
Yeah, if you get somebody in there fighting, and Ed Bouchette, he's not going to fight for those guys. Look how long it took. Jerome Bettis was a no-brainer. Top 4 NFL.
I was surprised that Curtis Martin
Changed the game.
Got in before Jerome, because their statistics, their career statistics, the length of their career and their accomplishments were relatively comparable.
Yeah.
And I think the only difference was that Jerome, got a title, and it was funny. They said that Jerome said after Super Bowl 40 that the bus was stopping here in Detroit, but I think it's got one stop left, and that's in Canton, right?
Yeah, it has to. It's coming up, right?
Saturday.
But I tell you a guy that should be in the Hall of Fame, and you guys may remember him. I watch a lot of film on him. I was too young to remember when he played. But this is a guy that did not allow a sack in any of the Super Bowls. He was starting left tackle.
Larry Brown.
No, Larry Brown was great. And he's another one, but he'll never get in because he played too many years at tight end. But this guy was dominant, strongest man in the NFL, John Cole. John Cole gets that offensive line. There should be more in other than just Webster.
He was the strongest man on that line.
Yeah.
Mike Webster used to roll his sleeves up and had his big guns, but
Cowboy
John Cole
Cole.
was.
Well, they all did. They were all heated up because of those special vitamins. They were raging every game. But that was okay then. We never would do anything to cheat. So.
But the one thing that the NFL did, and I got to tip my hat to the NFL, because initially they were not going to allow Junior Seau's daughter to speak at his induction into the Hall of Fame, and they've reversed their stance, and they're going to let her have her say at his when he gets elected in, and I think that's the right thing for them to do.
I don't.
Why?
Well, it wasn't a Junior Seau thing. They would let the highlights and stuff like that. They only let the people speak that was going in, and I think it's appropriate. I think the NFL is a little afraid too sometimes, so somebody may think.
Whoa! The man killed himself because he gave too much of himself to the very game. I think it's only right that his family, especially his daughter, who doesn't even have her dad anymore because he got hit in the head too many times playing football and took his own life. I think she should have the right to speak, because after all, she doesn't have her dad anymore, and we all got to watch, on Sundays and enjoy his career.
You guys are entitled to your opinion. I disagree, but go ahead.
I guess what the NFL was afraid of is that they would, turn it into a forum to talk about CTE.
Right.
Which, is an issue that's being litigated in the court system right now, but. I think if all she's going to speak about is, her father's, love and passion for the game of football,
I would tape it and edit it and then play it.
This is a lot.
I don't have.
Well, there's not live anymore. Like Jerome Bettis' brother John, our friend.
Yeah.
They don't. It used to be back in the day. You remember, you come up and Bradshaw presents Webster or what have you.
Yeah.
But they don't do that anymore. They tape it.
Do they?
The guy comes up. And then they show the tape, and the guy sits there, and they do the thing while they show the highlights, over it. So only one speaking at the Hall of Fame is the people actually going in. The guys that's presenting you no longer talks. They tape they tape it and edit it.
But Jerome's going to be the final one. He's going to be the last one.
Well, he's already starting to lie. Oh, I used to sell crack. I was shooting at people. Come on, Jerome, you grew up pretty rich. Pretty well off in the suburbs of Detroit. So Jerome's already. The thing is, in these Hall of Fames, it's almost like Shannon Sharpe. Oh yeah, we used to eat raccoons. There's nobody black eating raccoons. You got all those bunny rabbits and everything else down there on the farm. You wasn't eating raccoons. They all embellish. The stories get more and more. Deion Sanders. When I was 10 years old, my dad used to bet on my midget league games. He come in at halftime. Son, I need 3 touchdowns. I got money on it. I go give him.
I can't wait till Brother Ray gets up here and says, I've never owned a white suit.
Jerome Bettis quit lying. Quit lying, man.
This is like shocking to hear this from Smoking Jim.
I mean, come on. Mrs. Bettis still lives in the same house that he grew up in, and they can have 60 Steelers players and coaches in there for dinner. But no, he grew up in the projects.
Well,
Would they take an elevator up to the 12th floor?
He bought her.
Which house and which apartment is Bettis?
He bought her a satellite dish.
Yeah, there you go.
Smoking Jim, you're the only news media that's even saying that. That's almost sacrilegious. How could you say that?
All these guys, I tell you what, all of it's good. I enjoy all the speeches, you know what I mean? I love those speeches, but a lot of them are really...
You're inspired by some of the
lot
ones
of
that
fiction.
embellish them.
A lot of fiction now.
So, Jim, okay, what are you hearing out of Steelers training camp besides the linebackers that we're counting on to play football this year, spending their time on the trainer's table?
Well, right now, the New England Patriots took one look at all the Steelers' 5'8" D-backs, and they extended Gronk for another 5 years. He's going to break every record. Who's the kid for Cincinnati? EJ, the wide receiver.
Green's
AJ.
Loving it, man. Oh my
AJ.
goodness, Who's going to stop him? I mean, another 5'8". I was disappointed.
Well, he's 5'9". He's got it.
Yeah,
They
Yeah,
lie. Smoking
he's
Jim will
five.
tell
And
you.
his cleats.
Yeah.
On
But,
cement.
this contract is up right now. You know, they're not going to re-sign him. I just disappointed the baseball player, the 5'8" guy from Mississippi got hurt, Golston.
Okay, so here's the one I want to hear about. This kid from Miami. Okay, Chiclo.
Oh, he's great. Well, you guys, right here on this show, before the draft, I said that's the next Kevin Green.
Well, here's something.
Is there any surprises he's blowing everybody up in
Wait.
training
Check the
camp?
film. He said it.
Here's the interesting thing about this young
I
man.
love him.
If he makes the Steelers opening day roster,
Mm-hmm.
he will become the third
his
football
grandfather.
player who's had his grandfather
Father.
play in the NFL,
His dad.
his father play in the NFL, and then him have 3 generations in the
That's
NFL.
awesome.
He'll
Let
be
me
the
t-
third time.
Let
if
me
that's
tell you what,
happened.
if I was on the Steeler coaching staff right now, then their defense would be good. Here's what I would do. Number one, I would start Chiclo at left outside linebacker. I would move Bud Dupree to middle linebacker, and I would move Shazier to right outside linebacker, and I would trade Jarvis Jones for a warm six-pack. You drafted the last 2 years 2 right outside linebackers, and they can't play right outside linebacker because you got Jarvis Too Slow Jones in there getting hurt in training camp. So that's what I would do. Since Dupree's the bigger guy, he's 270 pounds, I move him inside because that boy could be the next Kevin Green.
Right now on the
Chicolo.
depth chart that they released just today is that they've got Moats penciled in as the starting left, with Dupree being his backup and Chiclo
No, that's scary.
playing behind
Moats
him.
as a starter, that's scary. I'm scared.
Well, they do that to just motivate the younger guys because they penciled him in, but that just because you're penciled in at the beginning of training camp doesn't mean they come out of training
With
camp.
the
that
way
way.
the Steelers pencil in, it's no surprise nobody got more lead poisoning, brother.
Wow. All right, enough Steeler talk. In other words, Smoking Jim's positive on what they're going to do. Not much. They're still rebuilding. Zach's optimistic. They're going to the Super Bowl.
Every year, we
And-
can win it.
And I always predict about 12-4, but I don't know this year because when these guys aren't united on something, who knows? I want to close this out and promote something. Young kid was on our show, Steven Englert. Come on, answered questions. He has this fundraiser going September 12th. They stopped over my house the other day, Smoking Jim. They were knocking on my door. Can we put those signs up you told us we could put in your yard? I said,
sir.
sure.
Yes, sir.
So they got the signs up. That's what you'll see. Hey, thanks for watching our show. It's been a pleasure. Zach Brenner, Smoking Jim Frazier, Chip the Prophet Hainer. I'm Al Levine, the Talking Machine. Stay strong.